Miller reporting to you on the Fukushima happenings on March 22nd, 2011. Supposedly, the plume of radiation that came from the plants in Japan has gone over the United States, but actually it's continuing to go over the United States. They're saying it's harmless, but they're not sharing the monitoring that they're doing with the people. They are sharing it, according to this article by William Broad in the New York Times, with the IAEA, that's the International Atomic Energy Agency, which is also a promoter of nuclear energy, and the World Health Organization, but they're declining to share the monitoring with anybody else. And they're talking about these plants, these Mark I General Electric plants, as if they're still great, except sometimes they don't quite function too well in something beyond a design basis accident like a tsunami or an earthquake. Incidentally, in Vermont, they have one of the 23 out of our 104 nuclear reactors that are Mark I's, same ones that they have in Japan. And that one was leaking tritium into the Connecticut River. They kept lying about it and saying, no, there's no leaks, there's no leaks. Oh, there's some leaks. So finally the people in Vermont got so mad that they decided by a vote in the legislature to close it. But the day before the Fukushima accident that started from the tsunami and the earthquake, they approved an extension for 20 years. The NRC did, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission in Washington, approved a 20-year extension for a plant. It's about 40 years old. Now these plants, all these plants are set up to exist for maybe 20 years, and now we're at 40 for most of them. The last plant in the United States was ordered in 1973. Hasn't been one ordered since, except for the ones in Georgia that they're trying to build down there with these Westinghouse AP1000s, which also can't do anything beyond the design basis accidents like an earthquake, a tsunami, a hurricane, etc. And when Arnie Gunderson was talking about Fukushima, by the way, he had, I'll give you the website for his little video. The tsunami knocked out what's called the surface water pumps that were just behind the wall that would pump the cooling water into the plants in case there was an accident occurred, to maintain the service systems and the safety systems, and they were all wiped away in 1 second after with the tsunami. So the safety systems wouldn't have worked anyway. And you should know that all those plants basically aren't going to work anymore in Japan. They're finished. They're pumping the seawater in to keep everything cool. And most of the radioactivity that was released from what they call the spent fuel pools, or the fuel pools, which are much more hot and radioactive and have much more plutonium, etc., in them than the actual core does. So we have to know about that. So we'll see how this all pans out. We'll hear more about the harmlessness of what's going over our heads and landing on the ground and getting into our lungs. The radiation isn't just this plume, it's little particles, and the particles can be absorbed in your body. And 25 miles from the plant, they're detecting radiation levels 400 times higher than normal. So that gets into the food, gets into the water, and the people in Japan, especially around the plant, are really damned and unfortunate, and we have to reach our hearts out to them, because it could happen here. We got 104 plants here, and 23 are the Mark I General Electric. And incidentally, also the General Electric arm that makes the nuclear reactors, originally made in the United States, was bought up by Japan. And the other main nuclear reactors that used to be made in the United States, Westinghouse, the one that makes the AP1000 that's going to be put up in Georgia, owned by the United States originally, now owned by Japan. Dr. Conrad Miller, signing off.